Hey guys, Sugar Bear John here, and we're back with another video. And in today's video, this is part 2 of my Blood Decay Shadowlands guide. Part 1 was a very basic guide going over our offensive, defensive abilities, talents, rotation. This video is going to be more so about Shadowlands Blood Decay, the systems like the Covenant, Soulbinds, Conduits, Legendaries, and all that good stuff, as well as our best in slot trinkets. So it's a little bit more in depth than the previous video that I had. If you haven't watched that video and you're looking for something a little bit more baseline on what exactly the blood decay does, go check out that video. I'll put the link down in the description below, and it'll also be at the end of this video as well. Before we get started as well, if you haven't hit that sub button, hit that sub button. It helps the channel grow. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't as well. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, if you just want to say hi, feel free to do that down in the comment section below. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday night Pacific time, 6:30 to 9:30, as well as Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You guys can catch me there if you want to see me live and ask me questions or following me there. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, so let's hop right into covenants. We have 4 covenants to choose from, and any of the covenants that you choose, it's really up to your choice. I don't think any particular covenant's doing really that bad. We're seeing blood decays from all 4 covenants up in the 1000 IO for Mythic Plus. Some maybe are a little bit more scarce than others, and we're also seeing some successful raiders who are blood decays that have chosen different covenants, and they're all up there as well. The 2 that are doing the best right now is going to be Venthyr, which is really, really good for Mythic Plus as it gives you runic power and dodge. And it's second best in the raid. And then you have the Kyrian, who's doing really, really, really good for the raid as it has that damage reduction in the File of Serenity that takes bleeds off. And it's doing about, I would say, second best with Mythic Plus. Now, again, that's not to say that the other 2 covenants, Night Fae and Necrolord, are not doing well, and you're not seeing those in the raid and Mythic Plus high keys, but they're a lot more rare to find. But those 2 are the ones that are edging out. As you can see, I'm in the Venthyr Covenant Hall, which obviously means I went Venthyr. I lean more towards Mythic Plus content. I like pushing higher keys. I'm right now not seriously raiding, so I didn't see the point of going Kyrian. Although Kyrian is really good for necrotic weeks, as it can reduce that bleed and drop the bleed from necrotic. So Venthyr if you're more Mythic Plus focused, and you have Kyrian if you're more raiding focused. But I think between the 2, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But again, it's up to your choice. So the next part of this video is going to go over the Soulbind for Venthyr. So if you're not Venthyr, you can skip to the next segment, as you're probably not going to get much from this next segment of the video, unless you do want to kind of see what the Soulbinds are looking like, and maybe it'll convince you to go Venthyr if you're Night Fae, Necrolord, or Kyrian. But let's talk about the Soulbinds coming up next. Alright guys, so we have 3 Soulbinds with every covenant that we choose. This is our Venthyr Soulbinds: Nagia the Mistblade, Theodore the Mad Duke, and General Draven. General Draven's locked right now, obviously. Nagia has the main ability where it gives you haste once you reach 40 stacks of Thrill Seeker for 10 seconds, which is actually really good. Haste is one of our main stats as a blood decay. Because more haste equals more runes, and more runes equals death strikes and runic power. We have Theodore the Mad Duke, that his main ability is pretty useless to us as a blood decay. You stand in the shade, and sometimes you're not always going to be able to stand in the shade, and it gives you 525 mastery. Not very good. And then you have General Draven, who I keep calling it a cheat death, but it's not a cheat death. It's more of an on-death ability. Basically what happens is when you die, you turn into a stone, it blows up, and it inflicts damage split among all enemies based off of 100% of your max health. And then it also does that amount of damage and healing to your allies. So it heals your allies, and it blows up the enemies around you. It also makes it so that when you're below 40% health, you also take damage. So it's really good if you stack that with Will and Necropolis. This is more of our tankier Soulbind. This right now Soulbind, the Theodore Mad Duke, is the one that's winning out as of right now, and I'll tell you why. If you're a Venthyr watching this video as of this is January 2nd, right now we only have 2 conduits unlocked for Nausea, but we have 3 unlocked for Theodore the Mad Duke, and we have 2 endurance and 1 potency. With Nausea right now, although her ability is good, we only have 2 conduits. You want to pick right now the Soulbind tree that has the most conduits unlocked, because the conduits are going to make or break you unless this ability at the top is just super overpowered. So if you're in Kyrian and there's a Soulbind, or if you're Night Fae or Necrolord and you only have 2 conduits unlocked, but your main ability is like really OP, then stick with that one. But for Venthyr, although this ability is almost useless to us, we have 3 Soulbinds here, and we have 2 endurance, and we have 1 potency. So if you're Venthyr, go with Theodore the Mad Duke. Once we unlock the 3rd one with Nausea, you most likely want to just swap back to her and go from there. Now I'm simply going to just draw you guys a line on what path you want to go when you, let's say, assuming that we have all 3 of the Soulbinds unlocked and we have all rows unlocked, all conduits unlocked. I'm going to show you the line, a path of which way you want to go. So obviously you'll unlock Thrill Seeker. You'll want to go down towards your first potency conduit. Boom. You would get the Door of Shadows, Disorients enemies, which is kind of useless. Then you would have your Finesse conduit. In your Finesse conduit, I have Spirit Drain. Move down here. Then you get your first endurance conduit of the row, and then you'll want to move over to the potency. You'll always want to go towards 2 potency conduits. You got your first potency here, down to finesse, down to endurance, and then your second potency, and then obviously you take this. This is the best row for Nausea. For Theodore Mad Duke, you'll want to go down here, boom, first endurance, Hardened Bones, Door of Shadows frees you from roots, then you get your first potency, Withering Plague, boom, boom, you get Meat Shield, you go to the potency here, which this would be more likely than not Impenetrable Gloom, which is your Swarming Mist ability, which is your Covenant ability. Right here. Like a big S, basically. And then with General Draven, you'll want to obviously start with Servant Stone, move down to your first Endurance, then this, then Potency, then over here, or here. But I believe that this one is going to be the best, as you'll take less durability damage. That's going to be less repair bill for you. Then you'll get another Endurance conduit, so you have 2 Endurance conduits and 2 Potency. So you go out, down, boom, back out, back in, back out. Pretty simple, right? You could also go off to the side here and get your Finesse conduit if you don't feel like you need the second Endurance. You can go here, Finesse, down, here, Potency, Endurance, and then back to Potency. So you would have your 2 Potency, 1 Endurance, and 1 Finesse. So depending if you feel like you need the extra Endurance conduit or if you need the Finesse conduit slot, those are the ones you're going to go with. Okay, so now really quickly, I'm going to just basically briefly go over what conduits are going to be the best. And this is going to pertain to any covenant in the game, whether you're Kyrian, Venthyr, Night Fae, or Necrolord. So your 2 main endurance conduits are the ones I already have equipped, Hardened Bones and Meat Shield. Hardened Bones basically gives you a mini IBF when you pop Lichborn. Lichborn also gives you a 10% leech, so it's a pretty cool little defensive cooldown. You can upgrade Hardened Bones with by killing Sun King Salvation, and it actually, I only have the 7.8% reduction one, but you can also get the 9% reduction one by getting the heroic Sun King Salvation kill. Meat Shield extends your Dancing Rune weapon by 3 seconds, which is pretty huge, and it also gives you a stacky max health buff that lasts for about 15 seconds, and it can stack based off of whatever item level conduit it is. So this is also very, very good. An honorable mention here is going to be Reinforced Shell. So if you're in a raid where this is going to be more useful for you, if you guys are going to take more magic damage, then you would want to go Reinforced Shell. But your main 2 are going to be Hardened Bones, Meat Shield, and then Reinforced Shell, depending on the fight. So the only 2 Finesse conduits, we only have 4, that would be good for you. The go-to here is going to be Spirit Drain, especially for Mythic Plus, because it gives you runic power every time you interrupt something. In Mythic Plus, you're always interrupting stuff, and as a tank, you're usually the one going first. So 13 runic power is huge. You interrupt one thing, you get 13 runic power. We'll take that any day. Runic power is our survivability. That's more death strikes. The other one is going to be obviously Icebound Fortitude. Icebound Fortitude is reduced by a certain number. As you can see here, the item level 200 is reduced by 28 seconds. This one's going to be in situations where you feel like you need IBF up a lot. So if you're like in a mythic raid where some type of ability is going to be hitting you every about 2.5 minutes, because that would be now the reduced cooldown, then you're going to want to go Chilled Resistance. But this one's going to be a little bit more niche. I would strongly recommend going Spirit Drain. But again, it's up to you depending on the fight and the content that you're doing, and if you need IBF up more often than 3 minutes. And then the last conduit category we have here is Potency. I was running Impenetrable Gloom for the longest time, but then I realized that Withering Plague was just so much better as a first Potency conduit. The Withering Plague basically increases your Heart Strike by a certain number by all enemies that are affected by your Blood Plague. Blood Plague is your dot on the enemies that you attacking, and with Blood Boil, and if you're Blood Boiling all the time, which you should be, they're always going to be affected by Blood Plague. So your Heart Strikes are going to have a 20% increased damage, and if you drop your Death and Decay and you start Heart Striking after you Blood Boil, all those mobs that are getting hit by your Heart Strike are taking increased damage. That's pretty huge. The second conduit you'll want to take when you unlock your second Potency conduit is going to be Impenetrable Gloom. And you could maybe argue the fact that Debilitating Malady is not too bad, as well as Blood Boil is one of your main abilities as well. But I feel like Impenetrable Gloom would be kind of the go-to, as it's going to be something that you're going to use quite a bit. And having increased damage, especially for Mythic Plus on an AoE ability like this, because this Swarming Mist ability is not capped by a certain amount of players or enemies that it hits, having increased damage on this, especially if you're going a little bit larger pool, is going to win out. If you're not going super big pools, then you'll want to go Debilitating Malady. So let's say you're doing a single target raid fight, you'll want to go Withering Plague and Debilitating Malady. But if you're doing Mythic Plus content, you'll probably want to go Withering Plague and Impenetrable Gloom. Okay? So these are your AoE ones, and this would be more of your single target. All right, let's talk talents real quick. This is my current talent build for Mythic Plus. This really hardly ever changes. This is your talent setup if you're running Mythic Plus, intermediate to somewhat hard keys. This is going to be your setup for Mythic Plus keys if you're doing easy content. This is going to be your Mythic Plus content where you feel like you're going to most likely need the Purgatory, and you'll most likely die every couple minutes, and you'll benefit from having Purgatory up. So let's say like you're doing a high fortified week as a Blood DK on some affixes that are pretty bad. This is the setup you'll want to go with. This is going to be your talent setup for raids. This is going to be your talent setup for raids if you feel like you're progressing on hard content and you know you're going to die at some point. I would probably go with this build if I'm Blood DK tanking Sludge Fist on Mythic, and we haven't killed the boss, so you kind of want that cheat death. Alright, let's talk Legendaries. I'm still seeing on the Discord for the Blood DKs, and I'm seeing in some YouTube videos, Blood DK guides, where there's still some confusion on what the best Legendary is. Guys, we're going to make it really simple. Your best Legendary is going to be Super Strain. It's a no-brainer. If you understand what Super Strain does, you'll understand that this is the best one to get at rank 4. I have it in my chest slot. You'll always want to pick, obviously, the Legendary, put it in a slot where you're going to have your strength, stamina, and armor, which is going to be the things like your chest, your legs, your waist, something like that, that has your main stats on them and your big stats. Now, the reason why Super Strain is so good is because Super Strain not only increases your threat generation, because you have more damage ticking on each enemy by having 3 different dots on them, and it also increases your damage, but it's also the frost fever ticks on every enemy that it's on will give you runic power. So most people are arguing between Briandor's Might and Super Strain, where there's not really an argument here, especially for your first legendary. Super Strain, again, does more damage. It gives you runic power, so then you can Death Strike more. Whereas all Briandor's Might does is just refund your runic power when you Death Strike when you heal for 10% of your maximum health. So, of course, there's going to be more likely than not, you're not going to screw that up. You're going to heal for 10% of your maximum health with your Death Strike if you're Death Striking properly, but you're not getting any damage increase. You're not getting any threat generation increase. And that's really just where the argument ends. So there's no reason not to go Super Strain here. Go Super Strain for your first legendary, put it in your chest slot. It gives you the most stats. It's a big piece of armor, and it gives you more threat, more damage, and it gives you runic power so you can Death Strike. Your second legendary can and should be Briandor's Might at that point, because then you can Death Strike more often because your Death Strikes will be reduced on top of having your threat generation and runic power builder from Super Strain. So if you're looking at legendaries and you're confused, look no farther than this video. I'm telling you right now, go Super Strain first, get it to rank 4. Don't even worry about crafting anything else. Please stop. I've seen blood decays in pug raids and in Mythic Plus, and they're going with random stuff like Vampiric Aura and Gorfin's Dominant. Stop crafting those legendaries. Craft Super Strain, get it to rank 4. Then once you have enough, you go into Briandor's Might, because eventually we're going to be able to equip 2 legendaries at some point. Alright, so now time for the best thought trinkets. I'm wearing both my best thought trinkets right now, so these are the 2 you want to go after. Stow Legion Heraldry basically has a main stat of 65 strength. If you're that's just a normal trinket off of the Stone Legion generals. Obviously, it scales higher when you kill it on heroic and mythic, but it also gives you versatility by 85. Your other like bis, like hands down bis, you want to farm this trinket is going to be Blood Spattered Scale. Not only it's an on-use trinket, it's 2 minutes. Not only does it do a crap ton of damage to enemies around you, especially good in Mythic Plus because it scales higher with when you hit 5 enemies, but it also puts a big blood barrier on you based off of how many enemies it hits. So if it hits 1, it'll give you about 19,000 absorb for 10 seconds. But if it hits 5 enemies, it can go up to like 30k that absorbs. And if you see my health right now, I'm at 61,000 health. If you hit 5 enemies with this, you basically get like an extra 50% of your health in an absorb shield. So this is like bis. It drops from the other side. So farm that dungeon, get it, and once you get it, don't ever let it go. Seriously, these are your 2 best. There's other trinkets out there that are not bad. There's like the Spare Meat Hook, which is good for single target if you're fighting raid bosses. And then there's other ones, but those are just honorable mention ones. These are the 2 you want to look after. Kill Stone Legion General and LFR, normal, heroic, or mythic, and farm the crap out of the other side until you get this trinket. Alright guys, I want to say thank you for watching. If you made it this far, hit that thumbs up if you haven't, or if you forgot to. Hit that subscribe button if you found this helpful, as it helps the channel grow and I can do more videos like this. If I missed anything, or if I stumbled over my words and I sounded confusing about anything, please give me some feedback on these videos on what I can do better. Comment down below if I missed anything, or if you think anything was off, and maybe I can argue my point to you guys, or maybe we can discuss on what you think I said wrong, or if there was something inherently wrong, we can edit it into the comment section down below so we get the right information out there. I never want to make a video where I am making a video and I'm giving people misinformation. So I'm pretty confident with what I've been doing. I've been playing a Blood DK for 6 years, but without further ado, I'm going to end the video there. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, do that, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Catch me on Twitch, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace.